Hello everyone, I'm Kirby1 and I am making a video about Dominions 5, a random video, but something I've been thinking about showcasing just as sort of a public service announcement, and because from my random skimmings of the Dominions 5 content on YouTube, I've not seen any videos that directly address or go over this particular subject. It is a very niche subject, and a subject that probably most of you won't actually care a whole lot about. But if you do, if you're interested, I am going to go over in a series of videos all of the nations in the game and their province defense. What province defense you can expect playing them, what province defense you can expect to be going up against if you are fighting such nations, and maybe just dabbling a little bit on some of the potential strengths and weaknesses of each of these province defenses. Now, I won't go over the very basics. For example, when you have a scouting report and you have X number of PD, it'll show in the scouting report as such and such province has one officer and some loyal henchmen, or has overwhelming province defense, or whatever, or anything in between. And I won't go over every single indie province defense that you can possibly get in the game. This is just for nations. And I won't go over how much it costs. Obviously it scales based on how much province defense you're putting there. And I won't go over the patrol strength or unrest reduction. You'll just see that ticking up as I scroll up and down respectively. Now what I'm going to go over is specifically the units that you get as your nation in these province defenses as you increase them. And the two specific cases that we have to go over for land nations are going to be empty provinces and fort provinces. And for water nations, you have to go over empty water provinces, forted water provinces, empty land provinces, and forted land provinces, because all of them can potentially be different. With land nations, I have not, in my experience, seen any cases where a land nation has different underwater PD. Basically, once you get past 20 in an underwater province that you have as a land nation, you get nothing new, nothing special. Just more of the same of the local PD. So, in this particular game, I made a random map which has every single early age nation in the game. I'm not going to go over every single one of them. I'm just going to go over the first 5 in this video, and if there's interest, then I can continue, and then go into middle and late age as well. So we'll start with the Arcocephale province defense of a basic province. And for a basic province, you start off with the Myrmidon champion commander. Formation fighter is not a big deal. I'll click on each of these units so you can pause and look at their stats if you feel the need to do so. And then once you get to 20, you get 1 slinger, 1 Cardaces, which is basically a light hoplite, and then a peltast. And then for every case when you're in an empty land province, when you go up to 20, you get a local commander or mage of that province defense. So in this particular case, you got a lot of slingers. And then every tick thereafter, you get 3 more units, basically. Oops. So there's that. Because they're humans, this will only scale really well if you have pushed it super high. And by the time you're getting to 20, if you're spending 20 gold to boost it up to province defense, you're getting 20 gold. For this 20 gold, you're getting a slinger, hoplite, and a peltast in this province, plus a free commander, extra commander. So that's something to keep in mind in terms of just sheer cost, because these guys normally cost 10, 7, and 10 respectively, and of course raising province defense costs no resources. As for your forts, Arcocephale Early Age actually has pretty interesting PD for their forts, because they get Icarids. In addition to the Slinger, Light Hoplites, and Peltests, you get the Flying Icarids, and they're not sacred, but still, and they cost 15 gold normally. So once you get to 20, obviously you start at 25, so you start with a bunch of them for free. Once you get to 20, you get 1 Icarid and 1 Myrmidon in addition to all of these guys that you've had. And the Myrmidon, this is their stats, formation fighter, but they only have a sword, they don't have a spear. And again, 15 gold for the cost of that. In addition to that, you start with your Myrmidon champion at anything under 20, and above 20 you get a priestess, which is a nature 1, holy 2 with healer, which does really nothing in a battle. They are sacred, but with nature 1, there's really not a lot that you can be doing, and so really it's just a level 2 priest that is also sacred. So not the greatest mage to be getting for your backup, but there's that to consider. And again, no underwater province defense to count on. Alright, for Ermor, once you get to 20, you get Aurorus and Assentis. Sorry, let's pronounce this properly. Achensis and a Levy. All really pretty weak Ermorian units, but you get 3 of them, so 10, 8, and 10, so 28 for the cost of 20 gold, and your local commander. And then you start with a Centurion. Now, in addition to those 3 at your fort, once you get past 20, you get a Grand Whoppin' Hastatus. Yay! For 11 gold. Isn't that so exciting? You get to pay 20 gold for an 11 gold unit. Yeah. And you only get 1 of them. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So there is really poor diminishing returns in terms of bumping up province defense and Ermorian forts, unless you can spam, like, I don't know, Legions of Steel or Protection 7 though. Come on, guys. This is sad, really sad. No, it's not really, I don't think, super useful to be having high province defense for Ermor. You do get a Pontifex though. Fire 1, Holy 2, again, Sacred. Fire 1, really, really not that impressive. And with both this one and the Arcocephale mage, you can't put gems on them, so there's just, and they can't go into communions, so there's just no use for them really at all. So get some fireflies, I guess, but that's about it. So pretty crappy Ermorian province defense. For Ulm, their province defense is again going to be humans. You start off with a warrior chief, and you get a warrior who has 2 weapons, so that's pretty cool, and a archer, so that's great. These are both pretty cool units, and you can have quite a lot of archers if you already have archers in the province. And here's what I'm saying: if you got a mage in the province, you can get free mage. So that's sweet. Keep that in mind when you're bumping up province defense. Warrior chiefs are not sacred though. And then once you get up to 25, you get an axe warrior, which is also two weapons and a throwing weapon. And so with unscripted, because all PD is going to be unscripted, these guys are going to run in, throw their axe, and then when they run out of axes to throw, they'll hit you with the axes that they have left. And then you get a shaman, which is Earth 1 and a random magic skill. Now, I haven't actually tested this in a battle, but I don't know if you either get a random shaman every time this province defense gets attacked, or if it spawns one automatically, and then that's the same one you go with over and over again. In either case, it could be interesting, but the inept researcher is like, I don't care, and he's a sacred holy one, so he can bless himself, but he can get up to, because this is a 50%, he can get up to Earth 3, he can get Earth 1 and Nature 2, he can get Death 2, he can get Fire 2, he can get a whole bunch of cross paths. In either case, this is pretty cool. This is a pretty handy mage to have in your province defense, in your forts, for free. Well, not for free, for 20 gold. Instead of 130 gold, you get a 20 gold mage. So that's sweet. Excuse me. And you get a free one in your capital to start with at the beginning of the game. So not too shabby. That's a lot of attacks. 2 attacks from each of them, 2 attacks from each of them. Lots of damage being dished out. So that's something to keep in mind when you're going up against Ulm PD or making use of it yourself. Marverni. Oh, I want to go over something with Arcocephale that I remembered when I was talking about default scripting. Because it's default scripting, it's really cool to have these Icarids, but they just sort of like are scripted to fly in immediately and attack something. So they're generally more often than not just going to die. So cool, but unless you have a lot of them, like a lot of them, it might not be super great. Okay, Marverni. For their regular PD, they also get 3 units. And their units are bare-chested warrior with a javelin, a javelineer with a spear and a javelin, and this one is a sword and a javelin, and then a slinger. And their commander is a chieftain with inspirational, which I don't know if inspirational actually works, because technically he's not actually leading squads, he's just sort of there. But yeah, I don't know if this actually does anything. But of course, Marverni being Marverni, all of them have tattoos. So if you can make use of the tattoo ability, that can be a lot of invulnerable 10 units right there. And once you get into their province defense, on top of that, you get a noble warrior, which gets bear tattoo 2. So that's cool. I actually haven't played Marverni. I don't know how like super effective this is or not. Obviously, early game, it's going to be super crappy to have protection 0 units. But yeah, there's that. And then your mage that you get is a Holy One Priest. That costs 65 for 20, basically, for the province defense. And his old age, but that's never going to matter for a PD. So he can bless things, but he can't tattoo things. So that's kind of bummer that you can't like have the PD tattoo themselves, awaken the tattoos themselves. But alas, you cannot. let's move right along to the next tattoo nation, Sauromatia or Sauromatia. I don't know which one it is. Oh no, don't care. For basic province defense, because they're super archer and super cavalry, they are going to have raiders with bow and spears, and pillage, which is not going to come into play during PD battle, and then horse tattoos, and then archer with snake tattoo. Snake is magic resistance, but meh for archers, I guess. And then their chieftain is a chieftain with, again, that inspirational that doesn't do anything probably, and a lance. So meh. He's a cavalry chieftain, so I guess that's cool. In this province, it's pretty awesome. Basically, you're gonna have a lot of archers in all of your province if you can bump it up this high, if you want to bump it up this high. And for your forts, you have a lot of archers. Now these guys, because they're archers, are going to default script to fire until they run out of arrows, which is 12 turns. Once you bump it up to 20, unfortunately, you get these guys who do not really pair well with like the 10 archers that came before them, because you've got a huge archer stack and then, like, you know, a handful of these guys. You start out with 6 of these guys and they're just going to run forward and die because there's only 6 of them. So yeah, that's not super great unless you can bump it up really high and then you have a decent enough lance group and then archers. But yeah, debatably worth it. Your mage basically is a Holy One priest that can self-buff with quite a number of attacks. And typically costs 130, but only costs 20 for province defense. So, woohoo! Alright, that's going to be it for tonight. If you guys are interested in me continuing, I'll just basically go down the list, top to bottom, hit everyone on the list in early age, maybe do a little bit more than 5 per video, but we'll see. And then move on to middle and late age, which will get into real interesting territory once you get into like ghost and pop kill nations. So, alright, that's all for tonight. Have a good one. See you later.